Oh, here comes the rooster. Oh, yeah. There's two roosters. This one, too. Oh, how about the rooster? Is that a rooster? I don't even know. It might be. I guess it is. It's got the red thing under its chin. It's got the red chin flap. That's rooster behavior. So, I had this cool thought in yoga I wanted to share. Just getting out of a yoga class. It was the mind is a ghetto. Are you allowed to say that? A bad neighborhood? The mind is a bad neighborhood. The mind is not a neighborhood you want to be in. And every morning it's a dangerous neighborhood. But then it's through breath and through mantras and through healthy practices. I'm gonna go sit in the sun. It's through breath and healthy practices that you populate it with police. And not the bad kind of police, but the good kind of police. Ooh, shoe sale, clearance in progress. I guess they're not open. So, I might get some new shoes. These ones are beat up. So thought that was a good thought. Like, if you start the day off, like, the whole, what's the book called? The Road Less Traveled, that starts out with the thing, life is difficult. Eckhart Tolle always talks about it. And life is difficult. And when you frame life from that perspective, it becomes a lot easier because you're like, oh yeah, life is difficult. It's meant to be that way. 12-step meetings work exactly the same way. Like, you go into a 12-step meeting, everyone shares their problems, and it's the thing of misery loves company. Not that you're happy other people are miserable, but it just makes your own misery easier to know that others are also struggling, let's face it. Not that we don't wish people well and hope that they get over, but we wish ourselves well too. We wish all of us well. So yeah, our minds are bad neighborhoods. I thought that was it struck me as a image that was powerful. Like, thinking of my mind as this gnarly neighborhood that, unless I actively put in police, the mantra and the breath act as police because they bring you to this place of metacognition where you're literally policing your mind. That's where the thing comes from. It's like, so suddenly, if you don't police it, the mind is just running around on a crime spree of weird negative thoughts. But if you police it with positive, mental stuff, like my go-to is Ho'oponopono, which I've talked about a lot. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I just have a general mantra on every breath when I'm in yoga. That's what I attempt. Each breath is I love you. I'm sorry. In breath, I love you. Out breath, I'm sorry. That's the kind of the pattern I try to stay in. Of course, my mind wanders, but I bring it back to that. And today I had a particularly focused practice. I had my eyes shut a lot, and I was just really just concentrating and in each moment. I felt like I finally understood yoga today. It was weird. After practicing it for a long time. I felt like finally I get it. And yeah, that's it. That's the thought I wanted to share. Interesting show last night on my TNT radio show. If you can listen to the archives, the Mitchell Gerber one about what's going on with the Falun Gong community and the organ harvesting. That was an incredible interview to check out. Very eye-opening, very intense. The second interview I did last night was with this guy named Diego Rodriguez out of Boise, Idaho, who is a grandfather of a baby Cyrus. And it's a story that went international, went worldwide, because Child Protective Services took the baby from 10-month-old, took them from their family for really no good reason at all. It's an insane story. I suggest you listen to it. It was very eye-opening about how diabolical Child Protective Services are, and how the government incentivizes people to take babies. Basically, it's a huge financial boon. It's a lot of people benefit financially if a child is taken from their parents. It's just, that's the facts, through foster care. And then I learned yesterday the biggest child trafficking organization in the world by far is Child Protective Services, because a lot of these kids end up in foster care, and then from there they get trafficked in horrendous ways oftentimes. So, and then there's financial incentives for this to happen, because everybody gets paid all along the way large amounts of money. Currently, baby Cyrus got returned to their parents, but the state still technically owns custody of baby Cyrus. It's ridiculous. That you should check out that interview. I forget what Diego Rodriguez's website is, freedomman.org, I think. But you can just look up Diego Rodriguez baby Cyrus. It'll come up. You can follow the rabbit hole. You could see the mother Marissa was doing a live stream while the cops were taking away her kid. It's heart-wrenching. I mean, as a parent, she's a 10-month-old kid. I have a 9-month-old daughter. As a parent, I can't imagine that. I would lose my freaking mind. I lose my mind when I have to leave my baby at the gym daycare for 15 minutes and she cries. I go in there and coddle her. Like, it drives me nuts. I can't imagine that. I would lose my marbles. So my prayers go out to Marissa and Levi. Thank God baby Cyrus has returned to them. But the story is harrowing. It's unjustified what they did, insanely. And Marissa made the point while the cop was taken away, like, well, okay, you think he needs a different kind of medical procedure? Let me go with. How could that possibly harm the baby? And they wouldn't let her. It's ridiculous. But it was eye-opening to how diabolical Child Protective Services is, how you shouldn't incentivize financially babies being removed from their families. That's beyond bizarre. Before this interview, I just always thought of Child Protective Services as, in extreme cases, they take kids out of really dangerous homes. That's not what's going on. I'm sure that does go on as well, and good on them for that part of it, but there's a whole other angle to it, which is eye-opening, and you should investigate, because it's good to talk about. Also, Cara Castronova was a great interview yesterday, and she had a lot to say about the political prisoners of January 6th, who, are a lot of them in solitary confinement and still haven't had a trial. So think of that what you will. I don't want to get into that controversial subject right now, but there's a lot of government overreach going on. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, your mind is let's go back to yoga. Your mind is a bad neighborhood. Populate it with breath and mantras and metacognition, so you can analyze your thoughts. And then have an amazing day. Have an amazing day. God bless you. I'll be back on the radio tonight. I'll write a post about who I'm interviewing. I'm about to go do the research right now. Peace and love, everyone.